Welcome to this meditation. Normally, we do our meditations on Mondays only, or at least that's been the tradition for the last few weeks here. But this has been a big week. This has been a lot of shifts and changes and integrations and transmutations and a whole bunch of stuff. So, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, I would love to hear your comments. I would love to hear where you're at, what your experience is, how you're feeling, where you're getting stuck. So there is a lot. There's a lot coming up in the collective conscious. And I titled this chat and meditation, Turning the Global Brain into the Global Heart. And that's because I was watching this really beautiful video by Michael Bernard Beckwith, who was interviewing, I can't remember the person's name. I'll find it for you. He was interviewing and just having a chat with this person. And he mentioned this. He mentioned, a part of the reason why we're seeing so much massive change and so much information is because we now live in this space of the global brain. When something happens here, we have social media and the internet and everything that kind of connects us and really creates like a really strong network. So you can almost look at it as this neural network of information. And that's really powerful, like really powerful and so beneficial, because the more that we can share this knowledge, this wisdom, this information of everything that's coming up, the more we learn, But the next step, and probably why so many people are feeling uncertain, ungrounded, like not feeling like you're on solid ground right now, is because there's a really necessary journey that needs to happen from head to heart. So this is what meditation is all about. This is what everything that I talk about, everything that this group is about, is all about taking this information. So taking the knowledge, everything that you're learning, and then integrating. So feeling into it, moving into the space of beingness. And so I'm very empathic, and I think that most of the people in this group are. And from my understanding of everybody who's here, we're all also business owners. We all have platforms. We all have, and not everybody obviously has to have a business, but there's an element of leadership. There's an element of being willing to be seen, because that's who I connect with. That's who I really strongly feel a kinship with, is the willingness to be in integrity. And if I've learned anything this year, it's that integrity is everything. And so because I feel things so deeply, and because, in this community, that's something that is really prevalent, we, actually, I'll just speak for myself and then you can feel into it for yourself. I am very deeply affected when I come to realizations or I see things that are uncomfortable. And, that's something that I really had to check at the door this week, because that is something that not everybody has the privilege to do. Not everybody has the privilege to feel things very deeply and then kind of turn away from, or close off, or kind of get completely introspective and then not look at what's going on. I have that privilege. I have that privilege that I can do that if I want to. And so I'm really checking that. I'm really looking at what that means and why I've chosen to do that. And I do it in a lot of different ways because it's more comfortable for me. And if any of my close friends can tell you this, like if I'm having a hard time, I go have a nap. Like I would sooner do that than have a deep conversation about it. I would sooner do that than sit in the discomfort. I would sooner do that than explore where I could grow. I would sooner do that than really look at where the problems are, because I can easily become overwhelmed by it and then become unable to do anything. But I've been looking at that. I've been looking at my resiliency, and I genuinely feel that the reason there's so much going on right now and there's so much happening in 2020 is because we've reached this really beautiful tipping point of resilience. We've reached this space of being able to know that we can handle this, that we can take on what is going on and transmute it, change it into something that is inspired, that is really deeply rooted in heart, and then take inspired action so that whatever is in our integrity is what we express, is what we stand in, is what we share. And so I'm building resilience. I'm building resilience this week. I am uncomfortable as shit. Like, I am so uncomfortable. And I've heard from so many of you that you are uncomfortable as well. And I was listening to one of my mentors, one of my spiritual mentors, Elise Braithwaite, and I can share her information with you. And she was speaking to our private women's group. So I won't share too much about what she spoke to, but she did say that, if you got a little bit uncomfortable today, you're doing it right. Because that's where change comes from. You have to be uncomfortable in order to change. And we've talked about this in so many different ways, even with visioning or starting a business or taking any inspired action. You have to get uncomfortable first in order to change. So that discomfort that I'm feeling this week, that discomfort that I'm feeling with, the ways that I've contributed to systemic racism, the ways that I have turned away from truth, are uncomfortable. And I'm sitting with that. I'm being in it. I'm listening. I'm humbling myself to the process rather than going, that is uncomfortable, and I'm turning away from it. Good morning, Sherry. And so this meditation that we're going to do together is really about taking that necessary journey from head to heart, from being up in our brain and just kind of like being in that space of past belief and of fear and of, this rejection that often happens when we get uncomfortable. It's not our heart that's rejecting. It's our brain, it's our mind, it's our past beliefs that are going, oh, that's like against my belief. That is, I'm not a racist. I'm not part of this system. This isn't me. And so this is what we're going to do today. And we're going to move into a practice that's so simple. Like, there's going to be very little talking in this, and it's something that you can take with you. I've been doing training with the Heart Math Institute in order to connect more deeply in with heart and learn about heart coherence and how to create coherence in the heart pattern as it relates to the brain and the rest of the body. When we do that, when we create this coherence, a balance happens. Our brain actually calms. So that overwhelm, that discomfort that we feel, might still be there, but we won't be going so far into the shame stories. We won't be going down into this space of helplessness. We can really root ourselves in resilience. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this meditation together. Okay, so find your comfortable seat. And again, this is going to be a simple and a short meditation, and this is important to me because I want you to have this tool so that you can keep up with it, so that you can utilize it at any time. And so I invite you to place your hands on your heart. You can either do that one on top of the other or in prayer, just whatever feels good for you. And what we're going to start to do is breathe in and out of the heart. So as you inhale, really feel your chest expand and press against your hands. Nice deep breath. Then as you exhale, move back with your hands towards your spine. Inhale, expand your chest. See if you can really lengthen out your inhale to a count of 3, 4, or 5. The deeper, the better, but you just don't want to be holding your breath or feeling like you have to catch it. Deeply breathing in. Nice, consistent inhales and exhales. So match the count for your inhale and your exhale. And so we'll do a few more of these together. Really deepening your inhale and matching that depth of inhale. So perhaps a count with your exhale. So as you start to feel this rhythm, as you start to settle into a consistent rhythm, matching the length of your inhale with the length of your exhale, I invite you to bring in the elevated emotion of compassion. We're going to start with compassion with self, so really feeling into compassion for self, compassion for what you're feeling, allowing all of your feelings to be there, allowing your understandings, your noticings of perhaps where you have contributed to this experience of systemic racism. So just allowing that to be there, allowing your reactions, your feelings, your difficulties, the shame, the fear, the discomfort. Just keep breathing with it, focusing on compassion, focusing on acceptance, focusing on allowing. Remember to keep those inhales and exhales nice and deep into the heart space. And I invite you to bring in now whatever feels good. So, however much you feel like you can bring in right now, the difficulties, the experience, the injustice that so many are experiencing, so many of Black, Indigenous, and people of color, so many that they are currently experiencing and have experienced in the past. Just bringing in whatever you're able to. And remember that we're doing this in order to alchemize, in order to bring our awareness into the space of heart, into the space of compassion. And if you're feeling discomfort, again, allow that to be there. Allow that to be part of this too. So keep matching your inhale and your exhale, nice deep in your heart, focusing on your heart-centered breathing and this elevated emotion of compassion. And we're going to breathe in silence together for a few minutes. So I won't be speaking for a few minutes. And I invite you to keep taking those deep inhales and exhales. And then I'll draw you back. So focus on compassion. Let's do 5 more deep breaths together. Allowing yourself to really soften into this practice. You can continue with that deep breath, or if you feel like you need to let it go, that's okay too. I invite you to do a check in to how you're feeling, how you have been able to soften into your heart space, how you have been able to transmute, to shift, to integrate both your feelings and the experience of so many others. Just know that you have this tool, you have this capability at any time, that this is actually an inborn system that you have of creating this heart coherence. Both stimulates the vagus nerve and calms your entire nervous system. And it also shifts your energetics. So it touches into your energy body, brings everything into coherence, into calm, into balance, and allows you to think in more expansive ways. Allows you to open to new possibilities, to open to new learnings, new beliefs, to change. Helps you to drop the armor, to drop the ways that you turn away from. And really welcomes in compassion, welcomes in acceptance and willingness to be with. Thank you so much for practicing this meditation with me. Om Mani Padme. Om. When you feel ready, you can come back to this space and we'll just chat for a couple more minutes before we close. Mm. Thank you. So I mentioned that this is something that you can carry with you at any time that you're doing the work, anytime that you're processing, that you're learning, that you're growing. There's going to be necessary discomfort. That's just par for the course. And if you know that right from the hop, if you know that, then it's not unexpected. it's not um, it's not something to turn away from. It's not something to shut down or look at as though you're doing it wrong. Because if you're feeling uncomfortable, you're doing it right. Oh, you're so welcome, Dawn. And it's also important that while we move through these times of shift and change, that we have these tools to process, to alchemize, to change, to really be with that discomfort. Because it's really difficult to be with something if you don't know how, if you don't know that it's okay, that it's safe, and if you've had experiences in the past where you felt unsafe. And sometimes that's what this can do when there's massive changes, when there's I can't even begin to count the stuff that we've been faced with this year. Environmental disasters. We've been faced with public health crisis. We've been faced now with this basically systemic racism, and looking at how we can move into completely changing those systems. So we're starting to systematically touch on all of the things that have created so much disorder, so much dis-ease in our world. And how beautiful is that? Like, we asked for this. We asked for these changes. And yet, if we don't know how to be with them, if we don't know how to change with them, to grow, to learn, to connect with self again, to connect with each other, then it feels overwhelming. Oh, you're so welcome, Susie. Yeah, it's been very necessary for me too. I've committed my entire week, all of the work hours that I put in a week, all of them have gone to learning. And I say that very humbly because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I'm still learning, and I'm going to keep learning, and not just about this, but anything that I turn away from. And I've learned that that's the way in. We've talked about this. Fear is the way in. Discomfort is the way in. If you feel uncomfortable about something, there's something there for you. There's a lesson. There's a learning. There's an offering of expansion. And so I'm really focusing all my time and my energy on that. And I'd like to share something very brief with you that happened, because I did this. I had to halt all of my business activities, and there was fear in there for me. I was scared that if I did that, some people would leave my communities, that I would be seen as taking advantage of a societal human rights thing as being something positive for my business. I can tell you honestly, maybe, who knows? I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I lost money this week. I had people requesting refunds. I had people leaving the community. And I'm pretty resilient to that now, because I know very deeply in my heart that whenever that happens, it just makes space for people who are better aligned. It makes space for abundance to come in, because I've cleared away the clutter. I've cleared away everything that isn't in integrity with me. But it's really uncomfortable at first. It's really uncomfortable to be with that. And so that's what I mean. I've been uncomfortable all week. It's been hitting me on all the different levels, like looking at how I've benefited from systemic racism, how I've benefited from not speaking up. And I can say I've benefited financially. I've benefited in so many different ways. But I'm also holding compassion for myself. And I'm using this practice over and over and over again to really connect in with heart, to shift from mind, which is where so much of our information, our learning, our exploration is right now. We're being attacked in terms of our beliefs, but the beliefs aren't us. That's not who we are. We are centered in heart. And so this shift from the global brain to the global heart means stepping up in heart-centered leadership. I was watching a video by The Rock this morning. I posted on my IG story, so go check it out. It's really good and it's short. And so he said, we must become the leaders we are looking for. So in these times of discomfort, of uncertainty, we're looking around like who's going to help me? Who's going to guide me forward? And it's you. It is you. And so the process of change has already begun. We've already begun to get uncomfortable. We've already begun the process. So just keep with it, and keep holding yourself sacred. Keep holding yourself in compassion. Keep holding yourself in this space of deep acceptance. And I really am so grateful for this community. And please know that I'm going to open up all communities for active discussion next week, and for sharing and everything. Yeah, and we'll definitely still do the meditation practice on Monday morning. I'll post about that as well. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to listen. And I hope that you can take this practice with you and utilize it. It's been such a gift for me. So many blessings to you. Have such a beautiful weekend. And I really look forward to connecting again next week. Bye, everybody.